Welcome to Travel Explorer, the travel program that explores South Africa, discovering weekend and holiday adventures that everyone can enjoy. Every week, our explorers will be bringing you 2 exciting new destinations. Hi, I'm Olivia, and I'm exploring the rapidly restoring glories of Mozambique as a holiday destination.
Hi, I'm Marianne. This week I'm in Sedwana, the dive capital of South Africa.
This week on Travel Explorer, we will be rediscovering the magic of Mozambique, soaking up the nightlife and the sun, diving deep into Sedwana and riding high as we discover an underwater world that is filled with wonder. Have I forgotten anything? I don't remember picking up my passport and visa. Thank goodness for that. Mozambique, here we come. The first of the 2 main routes to Maputo is by road. Take the N4 from Pretoria to the Mozambique border at Komati-Port Rosano Garcia, and then travel down and across the 120 kilometers to Maputo. The other is by one of the daily flights from Johannesburg. It's quicker, but far less scenic. Remember, when traveling to Mozambique, you must have a valid visa. And this might sound obvious, but if you're driving, make sure you arrive at the border post during opening hours.
For example, the operating hours at the Rosano Garcia are from 6 in the morning till 7 in the evening, though these hours do vary from post to post. And remember, do not hand your passport to anyone but a customs official and get all your necessary stamps.
From the Komati-Port Rosano Garcia border post to Maputo, the road is in good condition. However, the same can't be said for all the roads in Mozambique. The sun-drenched city of Maputo, formerly called Lorenzo Marx, still retains much of the charm that gave it its earlier reputation as being one of the most beautiful and fashionable cities in Africa. Modeled on Portuguese harbour cities like Lisbon, Maputo's wide avenues are lined with pavements inlaid with black and white stone mosaics. At night, the clubs swing to the rhythms of the samba, jazz, and music with a strong African influence, making the nightlife vibrant and multicultural and giving the impression you could be somewhere in Latin America rather than in Africa. Most of the nightlife takes place in and around the city centre and the old part of the city, while the affluent areas are Summershield and Palana.
And it's along one of the most prestigious avenues, the Avenida Julius Nyerere, that you'll find the elegant and luxurious Palana Hotel, where we'll be basing ourselves for the duration of our stay here.
Set in lush landscaped gardens and with its imposing colonial building, you can't help feeling you're stepping back into the old magic so many people remember of Mozambique's colourful past.
As a further reminder of the old Mozambique that people so fondly remember, guests here are greeted by this magnificent marble entrance hall.
Along with this beautiful caged lift to take guests to their rooms. The whole atmosphere exudes one of elegance and grandeur. A perfect place to relax and soak up the sun. There is a variety of hotel accommodation to be found in and around Maputo that ranges from budget and smaller hotels through to the luxurious and sumptuous.
The Palana exudes luxury, and I can't wait to see more of the hotel before taking my explorations further into Maputo and the rest of Mozambique. Not to mention all that seafood.
But for now, I'm just going to take my time, unpack very slowly, and savor the scenery, whilst Marianne takes you back to re-explore the magic of Sedwana.
Today, there's a choice of routes. Along with the old route, there's a tarred road, making Sedwana accessible for the ordinary road vehicle. However, if you're traveling from the Gauteng area, add an extra hour onto your journey as you have to travel down to XPlorer before picking up the tarred road to double back to Sedwana. Also, because of the danger of animals straying into the road, it's not a good trip to do after dark.
I'm finally in Sodwana, about to go on my very first dive with my dive instructor, Glenn, from Africa's Safaris. And trust me, I'm not going to put a foot in this water until he tells me it's okay to do so. But Glenn, before we go, tell me a little bit more about this gear that I'm going to put on.
Firstly, body protection, which include a very good mask, a snorkel, a set of fins, and a wetsuit, a cylinder, which is filled with compressed air, a buoyancy compensator jacket, which attaches to the cylinder, and a set of regulators, alternate air supplies, and a pressure and depth gauge.
Now, before you have a heart attack when you figure out how much this gear is going to set you back, relax. Most of it is available for hire throughout South Africa, and especially in areas like this where diving is such a main feature. And if you really want to impress your friends and family back home, you can buy an underwater camera and show them pictures yourself.
We have just left Jess's Point, a place that got its name from the lighthouse, and our destination is a place called Quarter Mile Reef. Sodwana was originally put on the international map with the discovery of that dinosaur of the deep, originally thought to have been extinct, the coelacanth, or old forelegs, as he has become affectionately known. But what has made this area a diving mecca for the average weekend diver and novices like myself is that the water temperature here rarely drops below 20 degrees Celsius. Also, 80% of all marine life that inhabits the South African coastline can be found here. And most importantly of all, there's plenty of expert tuition and guidance available to accompany people like me on these unforgettable underwater experiences.
Right, I'm all geared up. My first dive in Sodwana, and apparently I'm about to meet some rugged-toothed sharks. No, I haven't developed a death wish. Glenn assures me this is quite safe. So I'm slightly worried, but hey, here we go.
We'll see you down there.
The mobile generation.
Glocell now says hello to MTN. Buy a new Nokia 3310 for an unbelievable $399, or a new Motorola C200 for only $279. When you buy a 200 Rand, MTN pay-as-you-go starter pack. And now, Glocell gives you the option of buying these phones on credit from as little as 35 Rand a month. Available exclusively at Glowmail shops.
Mobile generation.
Glocell.
A secret from Chief Mannion's past is exposed.
Who ordered the massacre of Jack Mannion?
Now, everything he believes in,
I'm a crime fighter.
everything he's fought for,
They're questioning your ability to command.
could come to an end.
Department of Defense is opening up an investigation.
An episode not to miss.
I'll give you my resignation.
The District, tonight, 7:30. Saturday night, we'll cross live to Athens at 7:25 to follow Hestry Kluter's quest for gold. The District and the late news will fall away. Good luck, Hestry.
Having just made the trip from Sodwana to Quarter Mile Reef for my first dive, I have now literally taken the plunge. And immediately, I'm confronted by some incredible color and amazing sights. It almost feels like a huge spectacular has been staged for my benefit. The grace and tranquility is like nothing I've ever experienced on land. Everything appears so calm and friendly down here. At least, for a while, everything was calm and friendly until I came across these two. They've obviously decided that this ocean isn't big enough for both of them. Oops, sorry, I didn't see you there. Apparently, the female shark uses this area as a kind of shark nursery to pass the time swimming around until birth takes place. Doesn't sound very safe, does it? But I've been reassured that the female ragged tooth loses her appetite during pregnancy. Having said that, I've also been told not to try a dive like this unaccompanied, as nothing in nature can ever be guaranteed. Mind you, she doesn't seem too interested in me. One thing's for sure, this is just as awesome as encountering the Big Five on land. Time to go topside, and the time has gone so quickly. Too quickly. Wow. That was absolutely amazing. I mean, everything you think it's going to be and more. I would seriously recommend this for anybody.
Sodwana is not just about diving. There are also designated trails where you can take a quad bike out for a spin.
Seeing the boys tearing all over the place, I decided to show them what us girls can do. And for those a little less testosterone-driven, there are roadside stalls where you can take your wallet for a spin. And in the process, be entertained by the local musicians, bringing you their particular brand of music. Now it's back to sea again, but this time on top, not underneath.
For the fishermen, there's plenty on offer, with some record-breaking catches of kingfish, king mackerel, blue and black marlin, wahoo and the like being recorded here. Sodwana can definitely claim to be one of the finest game fishing spots in the world. It's the perfect place for both the deep-sea angler and a sea fly fishing expert to put their respective skills to the test.
What they didn't tell me was you've got to catch the small ones if you want to catch the big ones. The rapid change in depth is what makes Sodwana such a great place for game fishing. But that doesn't mean you'll get one straight away. You might have to wait hours on deck, soaking up the sun before anything happens. Challenging stuff, but maybe that's not for you.
If you're the kind of person that likes to feel the wind in your hair and the spray caressing your face without actually going out to sea, there's always a ride on the beach.
Whether you're a seasoned rider or a first-timer, you'll get a horse to suit your ability, and as with everything else in Sodwana, you're guaranteed to enjoy the experience, knowing you're under expert supervision.
With all the exotic flora and bird life here at Sodwana Bay National Park, nature lovers and bird watchers will be in their element. Finally, when it comes time to rest your tired body, Sodwana caters for everyone, from caravan parks and campsites like these, through basic yet comfortable accommodation for the die-hard diver whose only need is to have a place to rest his head before embarking on his next undersea adventure, to lodges like this one where everything right through to game drives are catered for. But if the truth be told, Sodwana is more about experience than luxury. Ultimately, holidays are about rest and relaxation. So if all you want to do is lie on the beach and soak up the sun, well, Sodwana is the perfect place to do it. There's miles of unspoiled beach, and the water's safe to swim in. You couldn't get better than this. Well, after the fabulous time that I've had in Sodwana, I couldn't think of a better way to end the experience.
Well, it's my first day here in Mozambique, and my mission is to find a secluded, tropical beach where I can sit back and spend the day relaxing.
But first things first, breakfast. Oh, and what lovely surroundings to experience the first meal of the day, and my first meal in Mozambique.
I've been told the beaches in and around Maputo are not the tropical paradise you'd expect from Mozambique. You have to travel about 45 minutes out of town. But I've been told there's a real gem called Macaneta, and that's where I'm going to be going today. I've been told that Macaneta is rustic and informal, and it seems like that feeling's definitely carried through to transportation taking me there.
But if you think about it, a boat like this is far more colorful than if it was something sleek and streamlined. The route to Macaneta from Maputo is by road to Marakwene, where you pick up the ferry to cross the mouth of the Nkomati. That way you can take your vehicle across. This is the most amazing feeling. With every step forward, you feel as if you're taking a step back in time. The whole atmosphere of this beach feels like things haven't changed much over the last couple of centuries.
Now this really is the life, lying on a beautiful tropical beach, listening to the sea. Oh, and only 8 hours from Johannesburg. Lucky girl.
The whole of the Macaneta Peninsula is great for fishing, so if you decide to stay over, there's a Complexo Turístico Macaneta. But an ideal place is the Nkomati River Camp, nestled in amongst the acacia and marula trees, alongside rustic fishing villages. It is light, airy, and has a stunning view of the sea that gives it a true tropical feel.
The Nkomati River Camp is warm, hospitable, and a wonderful place to experience the true spirit of Africa.
Especially with African bush on 3 sides. Normally, the wait for the ferry to Marakwene is no more than 20 minutes, but allow for longer on Sundays and holidays. The ferry trip itself takes about 10 minutes.
In order to negotiate the rather challenging roads of Makaneta, I decided to ferry across my ever-reliable Betsy. So for now, it's back across the water and I'll see you on the other side.
Mind you, negotiating Betsy onto the ferry is a feat in itself. If you're traveling in the opposite direction towards Makaneta, Julio's is a good place to hang out while waiting for the ferry. There is also a fish market at the dock with a good selection of fish at great prices if you're planning to braai later in the day. If you do visit Makaneta, the trip from Maputo to the ferry is about 20 kilometers.
Well, after a day of relaxing on the beach, I decided to come back to the Palana, quench my thirst, and see what the evening has in store for me.
Beautiful, eh? Listen, I'd like to sell you a brick. But now, this is no ordinary brick, because with it, we're laying the foundations for My Acre of Africa, an amazing wildlife funding initiative backed by the SABC. It's time to wake up, guys, because if we don't do something about it, Africa's animals, like these little guys, and the places they live in, will be gone. Verby, Pelile, lost to our world forever. As our head brickie says,
we need your help to lay the foundation that will preserve this precious legacy long after we are gone.
So come on, buy a brick.
Hey, Bill, I'll take one.
Hey, Jonty! Catch!
Visit our website or watch the press for details and help My Acre of Africa make wildlife your legacy.
This one's for the kids.
Good man.
There's an easier way to keep off the kilos this winter. You need BioSlim Winter Weight Loss Pack. You'll get new BioSlim soups with added fat burners, plus Fat Attack Block and Fat Attack Burn, plus Carb Attack to reduce those winter cravings. All this for the limited half-price offer of only $99.95. You save over 100 Rand. BioSlim Winter Weight Loss Pack. Naturally available from Glow Mail shops and these fine stores.
The Olympics may be over, but you can still go for gold with Motswako. On the 30th of August, Motswako comes back live. Mondays, 9:30 SABC 2 with an Olympian competition. A luxurious weekend away could be yours. Catch Motswako.
I'm here at Sudwana Microlight Flights with Francois Berger, and I'm about to go on my very first flight ever to get an aerial view of the coastline. Now, Francois, is there anything I need to know? I'm not going to fall out of this thing, or is this weather safe to go out in?
No, we'll strap you in nicely, and you must just put on something warm, and then it's fine. It's a lovely day, just a light breeze there, so you can go off.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go.
Let's go.
Next stop, Lake Sabaya, the largest freshwater lake in southern Africa. As we leave Sudwana, we head out over Jess's Point, the place I started out from on my dive earlier. From up here, the Sudwana coastline looks even more spectacular. For short hops up the coast, this is the only way to travel. It is a truly great sensation, believe me. From up here, you can see the stream that gives Sudwana its name. Sudwana means little one. And there it is, Lake Sabaya. Well, having just completed my first microlight flight, I can honestly say that along with my dive, it was an experience definitely worth repeating.
Although there's a road around Lake Sabaya, it's not negotiable in an ordinary vehicle. You'll also have to check in at the front gate to get into the reserve.
It's important to point out that if you do travel here by road, make sure you get detailed directions from the accommodation you're staying at and make a careful note of them. At one time, all of this was part of an estuary. A barrier of high forest-covered dunes separates Lake Sabaya on the left from the sea on the right, converting what was once an estuary into the largest freshwater lake in southern Africa.
Though you might be tempted to take a plunge into this inviting-looking water, it's seriously not advisable. You're likely to come face to face with one of the thriving populations of hippo and Nile crocodile that live here. Also, keep your distance from the water's edge, as crocodiles have a nasty habit of lurking just below the surface and then leaping out. Like Sodwana, there are many popular fishing spots along the coastline, yet fishing in the lake itself is not that popular. There are a wide variety of fish here, yet due to the low nutrient levels, they tend to remain quite small. On the other hand, it's a major attraction for nature lovers and bird watchers.
This tranquil scenery also makes it a major attraction for those with four-wheel drive vehicles. The dirt road around the lake makes for a scenic drive that takes you through lush, dense, forested vegetation. And nestling serenely in this vegetation is well-appointed accommodation for those who wish to stay over. And with that, this is Marianne signing off from Sodwana and Lake Sabaya.
After a full day of fun in the sun, I decided to take a break from tanning and enjoy an early morning swim in the magnificent pool at the XPlorer Hotel. Well, with my first morning activity behind me, I'm off to get ready, and I'll see you during the city tour of Maputo.
Refreshed and well-rested, I'm ready to tackle the day ahead.
My aim today is to find out just how much of Mozambique survived the turmoil of the 80s. So let's go take a look.
One of the most imposing landmarks of the city is the gleaming white Catholic Cathedral on the Praça da Independencia with its beautiful tower. Still on the Praça da Independencia is the Civic Center, a neoclassical building that was completed in 1945. One of the oldest buildings in Maputo is the Fortaleza da Nossa Senhora da Conceição.
With its cannons pointing outwards, this was once the nucleus of the whole area.
This red sandstone fortress was built between 1851 and 1867 and stands on the site of the original mud and pole stockade. Portuguese colonial architecture is certainly eye-catching, with plenty of examples around.
And this is CFM Station. As you can see, it's undergone extensive renovations, so it almost looks new. You'd never guess that it dates back to almost 100 years ago. It was built by Alexander Gustav Eiffel, the man who gave Paris the Eiffel Tower.
But Eiffel's architectural and engineering influence didn't end there. This house, the Casa de Ferro, is entirely constructed out of iron. It was made in France, shipped over and assembled here.
This house was to be the residence of the Mozambican Governor-General in 1892. However, it wasn't insulated, so living in it must have been like living in an oven. Today, it houses the Department of Museums.
Talking about museums, there are a couple worth a visit in Maputo.
This is the Museum of Natural History, and what makes it so interesting is that it contains the fetuses of elephant during the 22 stages of gestation that an elephant goes through. It's really fascinating, worth a visit, but unfortunately at the moment it's under renovation.
All in all, the old spirit of Mozambique has survived the ravages of the past turmoil, as is evident by these examples of colonial architecture. And that spirit is determined to live on, as can be seen by these lovingly restored Art Deco buildings.
The ties between Mozambique and South Africa have always been strong, as can be seen from this memorial commemorating the Boers' trek up here in an attempt to secure a seaport. Now, in the end, the Portuguese won, but it was the interest shown by both the Boers and the British which convinced the Portuguese to move their capital here, forming a new seaport, calling it Lourenço Marques.
Despite the ups and downs over the years, those ties with South Africa have remained firm to this day, as is evident by this art exhibition to celebrate South African Women's Day.
Well, that's it for today, but I'll be back next week exploring more of Mozambique, sampling more seafood, and taking in some of the nightlife. See you next week.
In the next Travel Explorer, Olivia continues to explore the magic of Mozambique as it rediscovers itself as a dream holiday destination. While Marianne visits the southernmost tip of Africa in search of new adventures.